we are going to another unit tonight. We're going to another unit which is History of Science in bracket 20th century scientific revolution. So we want to look at the history of science for the 20th century scientific revolution. So this history of science that I want to talk about is for the 20th century. How science evolved, the evolution that has happened to science in the 20th century. So that is what we want to look at tonight. So let's start with the introduction. So let's start with the introduction of this course. The 20th century, which is starting from the 19s, was a period when science developed very fast. So this was a period where science developed very fast, and before this time, science was still influenced by religion and philosophy. Before this time, science was influenced by religion and philosophy. As I said earlier, that there was a time in the history of science that everything about science then was influenced by religion. They are the ones that take note of the observation, because there was no scientists to actually take tests to experiment those observations. So that is why it was influenced by religion and philosophy then. But now science became independent and started solving real human problems. So starting from the 19s, it became independent. So science started to be independent and started solving real human problems. Now, as we can see, science is different from social science. Social science is different from management science. Although it's still science, but they are different. So science became independent and started solving real human problems. So this period showed between the human intelligence, which is the good inventions like medicine and internet, and also the human danger, where weapons like atomic bombs are now created. So science is having advantage, it's also having disadvantage. Everything about us right now is science and technology. From the food you eat, from the water you drink, from the clothes you put on, from the gadgets you use, from the house you stay, every of the tools you are making use of now is made up of science and tech. So science has actually became so independent and it start to solve human problem. Presently now, there's no problem I believe we can have that science cannot solve. So that is the period we are. There is human intelligence everywhere. There is even artificial intelligence everywhere. So that's for the introduction of this history of science for the 20th century scientific revolution. So let's look at the objectives there. You see, I think I know like 20th century. So I was explaining about matters. I said everything that is around us here is made up of matter, and it has atom. Atom is the smallest particles there, that has 3 parts. It has the proton, the neutron, and the electron. So it is in this period, this scientific revolution period, that is when we were able to know that this atom has these 3 different parts. If not for this 20th century, there would have been a full development on this. And to talk about life, which is biology, biology is the study of living thing, non-living thing. A lot of things we now know through biology. Like, let me use reproductive system as an example. Because they are fully developed now, you can actually know what you are composed of, your genotype, your phenotype. You can actually go to the hospital to confirm all of this, because it is fully developed now. A lot of things that this science has actually brought in place, even artificial insemination. people are carrying pregnancy for other people. You can actually make some like make baby to you can actually give birth without even going through the normal process. So that is the kind of innovation science has brought to us. Then to talk of space also, yes, space astronomy, which is known as astronomy. Space is basically everything that is beyond the Earth atmosphere. The planets, the stars, the galaxies, the asteroid, everything. So there has been a full development on them, because space isn't like air. Space is not like this air that we breathe in. Space is a vacuum that has a very few atomic per cubic meter. It's a vacuum, which means there is no air to breathe there. There is no sound, and things float. That is why it's called a vacuum. As if you see pictures of the astronauts that goes into the space, you see them wearing a suit, breathing in oxygen, because there's no way you can breathe there. There's no air to breathe in. There's no air to breathe in. So that's for the astronomy. Then the communication, we have internet now. We make use of internet, we make use of our phones to get any kind of information we want to get. You want to read online, you want to play games online, you want to work online, a lot of things that you can do. So that is the kind of scientific revolution that the history of science has brought to us from the 19th. So let's look at the first one, which is the physical science. Let's look at the physical science. Physical science is between physics and chemistry. Physics and chemistry. So let's look at the key discoveries there. What was discovered? What are the key discoveries? The first one is X-ray. So X-ray was discovered in 1895. It was discovered in 1895, and it was discovered by Wilhelm Röntgen. Let's take note of this name. So it was discovered by Wilhelm Röntgen. He was the one that discovered X-ray in the year 1895. So what is the uses of this X-ray? We use it in hospitals to check broken bones. We make use of this X-ray in the hospitals to check broken bones. Example of hospitals is LASUS. We have LASUS here in Lagos and other private hospitals or government hospitals. You have a fracture in your leg, you have a fracture in your hand, in your arm, then you can make use of this X-ray for them to be able to locate the bone that is having issue, or the broken bone in the body. You make use of it in the industries also to detect cracks in metals like pipeline in Nigeria oil sector. Now you want to detect a crack, you want to detect maybe there's a leakage in the pipeline, and you want to detect where the problem is. You make use of X-ray to scan for you to be able to detect where the crack is. So the meaning of this is it shows that atoms are not simple, they have smaller parts. So it has to tell us that atoms, they are not just simple, they have smaller parts. They are considered as the smallest. Atom is considered as the smallest particles, but still having smaller parts, which the X-ray can help us to locate, which the X-ray can be used to detect also. So that's for the X-ray. So let's continue. Let's look at the second one, which is the theory of relativity. Second one is the theory of relativity. So what is about this? So this theory was propounded by Albert Einstein. This is a theory that was propounded by Albert Einstein in the year 1905. So what are the main ideas about this theory? The first one is motion. It says motion depends on your position. That's relative. Motion depends on your position. And also we have the speed of light. The speed of light is constant. The speed of light is constant. The speed of light that you have in your bulb. For an example now, you cannot off your bulb and go and sit down before the bulb off. If you do your changeover in your house, you do a changeover maybe from light to gen or from gen to light. Immediately you do that changeover, you see that the bulb is going to on, which means there is a speed, there is a current speed that passed through from your changeover to the bulb immediately. It's not as if you will do changeover, you will now wait for 5 minutes before the light will on. So these things are very constant. So about Elson's theory of relativity is basically about how time and gravity are connected. Space, matter, time and how gravity, how these three things are connected. So that is for this about Einstein theory. An example here is that if you are inside a moving BRT bus, in Lagos, you are going to feel as if you are standing, or you might be sitting. You are not shaking, right? You are sitting down, except if there's a gallop. You are sitting down, you are not still, you are standing still. But people that are watching you from outside, those people outside are seeing you moving because you are inside a moving bus. So they are seeing you moving. It's just like according to the earth shape now. The earth shape is having an oval shape. It's not round. It's having an oval shape instead of circle shape. And we are currently not standing still. Although you might be standing still, but the earth is moving, but you are not falling down. Earth is currently moving because it's going to revolve around the sun. At the same time, it's going to revolve around the solar system also, which will take 365 days. So that's to tell us that this earth is still moving and we are standing still and we are not falling. So this theory is connecting space, is connecting time, and is connecting gravities together at the same time. So that is why it is called the theory of relativity. So let's go to the third one, which is the chemistry development. So under this chemistry development, because scientists understood atoms better, because the scientists actually understood atoms better, we were able to produce plastics. Production of plastics like buckets, like share in Nigeria homes. We have nylon and polyester clothes, that is common in market like the local market. We were able to produce drugs and fertilizer. So this is about chemistry development. Chemistry, they make use of oxides, they make use of elements together. Under the organic chemistry, they make use of all this polythene, all these alkanes together to produce all of this. They produce plastics, they're able to produce nylon, all these polyester clothes for us to use. They're able to combine them together to produce drugs and fertilizer. So that's about chemistry. They were able to produce drugs, especially drugs. Then let's look at the space exploration. How the space was being explored. The first man on moon, his name is called Neil Armstrong. That's the first man on moon. The first woman in space is called Valentina Tereshkova. And today, Nigeria uses satellite like Nigeria Comsat for communication. This is the kind of communication, this kind of satellite we use. There are satellites in the moon that has been planted by each countries. A satellite outside space that is connected to each country. In Nigeria, we use Nigeria Comsat as our own communicating means. So that is the kind of development that science has brought to us in this 20th century. There has been a lot of scientific revolution, from physics, into chemistry, a lot of theories that have been discovered, a lot of ideas, a lot of innovations, a lot of advancement has been done. So let's continue. Let's look at biotechnology. combination of biology and technology together. So biotechnology is the use of living organisms to produce useful things. Yeah, biotechnology is the use of living organisms to produce useful things. So you using living organism, the living organism is considered as biology, like you're using a living organism to produce useful things, taking it into tech, using to produce useful things. An example is what? Fermentation to make gari, to make ogi, to make palm wine. You're using fermentation to make this. Your gari production, the cassava, after grinding it, you put it inside, they're going to put it inside a sack and leave it somewhere for like 5 to 10 days. It's going to ferment. So making use of using fermentation to make gari, ogi and palm wine. And the kind of techniques under this is fermentation, we have tissue culture, cell fusion, genetic engineering. Before this fermentation take place, there are some cell fusion that is going to take place, that is going to be organized inside the ferment, like to make the fermentation to work. For an example, now you actually, if you buy a palm wine and you leave it for like 3 to 5 days, it's going to ferment. It's going to turn to ethanol, real alcohol. So there's something that actually happened inside the palm wine before it turns to ethanol, and that is fermentation. So biotechnology makes use of this living organism to produce useful things. Let's go to genetic engineering. Genetic engineering. This one it means the transfer of gene from one organism to another. You transferring gene from one organism to another. So you are trying to transfer gene. Gene is inside the body, inside living things. So this genetic engineering is, let's use human being as an example. So it is when human directly change the DNA of a living thing to give it new traits. You are changing the DNA. For an example, I'm changing my DNA now to give it a new trait. An example is making crop resistant to pests. Pests used to disturb crop. Then you are making that crop resistant to pests. How do you do that? You are giving it a new trait so that the pest will not be able to devour the crop. They will not be able to harm the crop. Then producing insulin from diabetes. Producing insulin from diabetes. That is also an example of you transferring gene from one organism to another. Then look at another example here that says improve cassava that's resistant to disease. Then better maize yield through research institute like IATA. If you do this transfer of gene from one organism to another, it's going to improve, it's going to give a better yield, because the pest is not going to disturb the crop anymore. There has been a change. There is now a new trait inside them. For an example, if I want to go through this genetic engineering, maybe I used to have malaria. I have my let's say I'm AA. An example, I used to have malaria, and okay, let me use sickle cell as an example now. Sickle cell, and I want to change my gene. I don't want to give birth to a sickle cell. I want to change my gene. I want to make it in a way whereas my own child will not be sickle cell. I can actually go through this genetic engineering to produce an offspring that will be different from me. So I'm giving my own offspring a new trait. I can marry AA for an example. And at the same time, me marrying AA is going to give the offspring a new trait. It's not going to give the offspring my own trait entirely, because there's going to be a mixture of gene together. That's biologically. But when it comes to this engineering, they can take it into the hospital and make just a change of the trait and combine them together. But biologically, if I do that also, I will be able to give birth to a child that is at least the genotype can be AS, because there's going to be a cross breeding. So it will improve the cassava. They'll be able to yield. They'll be able to give a better yield at the end of the year, or at the end of the. So that is the advantage of this genetic engineering, the transfer of genes from one organism to another. So let's look at the uses. The uses of this genetic engineering. Can use it for medicine, the production of insulin from diabetes. Yeah, use it in medicine, use it in agriculture for better crops. To use for better crop in agriculture. Then we use it for industry also. The biodegradable plastics, make use of it in the industry, in the agriculture, and in the medicine. But let's go to the next heading, which is the transport and communication. Transport and communication. Let's look at transport first. The first airplane was Orville and Wilbur Wright, which was in the year 1903. Orville and Wilbur Wright. There's a supersonic jet also. That is a very fast plane. So this is for transportation. The first airplane that was created was done. It was called Orville and Wilbur Wright, 1903. So an example of this plane. We have the air travel, we have the air peace, we have the Arik Air, we have Fly Emirates, we have Qatar Airways. Yeah, we have a lot of airplane companies around. And let's look at the space travel. The first man in space, his name is Yuri Gagarin. While the first American in space is Alan Shepard. So these are the two noticeable people that has traveled to the space. So these are the two noticeable people that has traveled to the space. The first man in space is called Yuri Gagarin. The first American is Alan Shepard. So let's go to communication. The devices that are used for communication. We have telephone, we have radio, we have television, we have internet, we have mobile phones. And for the examples of this, you have MTN, yes, for the network that we use in Nigeria, MTN, Glo, Airtel network. And for televisions, we watch DSTVs, Go TVs. All of this has just the scientific revolution that has been done in the 20th century. There was no internet before. In the startup of science, there was no internet. In the startup of science, there was no telephone. There was none of these communicating devices. It is because of the advancement, because of the growth of science now. That is why we are able to develop all of this. That is why there are innovators that are actually innovated all of this. And under the internet, internet started in 1970s. That is the year that internet started. And the meaning of internet is a network of computers that is connected worldwide. An example, you are searching something currently. If you go on your browser and you search for something, you will see that you'll be able to, even the details that is posted in another country, you'll be able to see it on your own search box, on your own search feed. That's to tell us that the network of computers, they are connected worldwide. Then you make use of Gmail or email, file sharing. Then use the internet for online learning. You make use of internet for a lot of things. And actually you can make use of your internet to work. So we make use of internet for a lot of things, and we can connect the internet to also communication skills. You can make your internet to watch. You can even make it to watch DSTV on your phone. There's a way you can connect it to watch the same DSTV. With this internet, you can actually make use of Glo network. You can make use of MTN network, Airtel network to do this internet. So with the help of internet, it can actually also help in communicating devices. So communicating devices and internet are like interconnected, because you are connecting your mobile phones. Your mobile phones is connected to internet also. The same thing applicable when internet is connected to your phone. You can actually go through the internet with your phone. You can make use of the internet using your laptop, and there are a lot of things you can actually do with them. So that's for the 20th century of scientific revolution. So let's look at the last point on this unit, which is war. So this is where the disadvantage of science comes in. This is the war part. There is negative impact of science also. So science also created dangerous weapons. The same way we make use of science to create good things is the same way we make use of science to create bad things. We can't call it bad thing, but it is harmful because it is dangerous. It is harmful because it is dangerous. So the same scientist that is able to make use of physics, create laws, create theories that can actually help solve life problems, they are still the same scientists that still gives theories, that still go ahead to create dangerous weapons. An example is the atomic bomb. We have the hydrogen bomb, we have the nuclear weapon. So all of these are just meant for war, and they have negative impact on science. Imagine in the country, or imagine in this world now, we don't have anything like this. We don't have anything for the war, although there will still be fights. But we know that there's no country that can just scatter any country. But any small thing now, they started throwing bombs to each other, started sending missiles to each other, because all of these are being made from what? From science. So the real event is the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It has a lot of effect when this country went through this negative impact of science. A lot of effects. There was massive destruction there. There was radiation sickness, cancer and death. All these bombs has a lot of effects. If they are being sent to a country or to a state for like 5 to 10 years, there is going to be a lot of effect on people there. Even people that survive, they are still going to go through the effect, because there's going to be a radiation sickness rather, cancers. The bomb has actually affected the environment, it has affected the surroundings, the air that is there. So that is why there's a real negative impact on this, a huge one. And everything is being done through science. It is science that is able to. Without science, they will not be able to create all these nuclear weapons, all these war weapons. Relevance: Nigeria does not use nuclear weapon, but they support peaceful science use. Yes, Nigeria would, yeah, we don't have any nuclear weapon, not because we don't have, but I don't think we have the strength to create all of these things. So we do not use nuclear weapon, but we support peaceful science. How we make use of science to do is just the normal real life settings that we are doing, teaching it in the school, using it to produce things that we are going to make use of in the country. But other countries, because they have the power, they have something they are fighting for, they want to safeguard their country, and they are well developed, they are more developed than us, so they are making use of science to create all of this nuclear weapon for their own advantage, so that they'll be able to protect themselves, protect their country. So let's look at the conclusion of this. Science in the 20th century improved life, but also created danger. That is why science must be very responsible. That is why science must be used responsibly. It's just like I have a phone, every one of us have a phone, but what we use our phone to do is very different. Others might be using their phone to watch movies, another person might be using his or her phone to play game, another person might be using his or her phone to do trade, forex, of a thing. A lot of things that we are using our gadgets to do. All of us cannot make use of same thing the same way. The same thing applicable to our educational level. Some read always, some read once in a day, some read twice in a day, some does not read every day. So that is how it works. Even though we have the same course material, even though we are doing the same courses. So science improved life. It has improved life a lot. For an example, this online class we are taking currently now. If not for science, we will not be able to do this. But science has added to life itself. So let's look at the summarization of the units. The 20th century, there was a rapid scientific growth, because there are a lot of scientists that are well trusted and tested. They have been tested. They have done a lot of experiments to create all of this scientific growth to make it work. Then there is X-ray and relativity. This X-ray and relativity has changed physics. When you hear people saying, I want to go to the hospital to go and do scan, to go and do scan, to go and do scan, to go and do scan. This X-ray has actually helped a lot. Some people doesn't know that they have some things inside of them. But when you go for the scan, you make use of the X-ray, all these things are going to be detected, because if they are not detected, it will be eating the body, and you will not be able to see them, because ordinary eyes cannot see them. That is the purpose of this X-ray. So it's just like something smaller than atom that can actually penetrate into our body to see what is going on. It can detect it. And for the relativity, that was propounded by Albert Einstein. It was talking about space. It was talking about space, it was talking about time, and it was talking about gravity, the way the three can be connected together. So, and this has changed physics a lot. Then we spoke about biotechnology. I talked about biotechnology. I said it is you making use of living organism, turning living organism to a useful thing. So biotechnology helps in food and medicine. Medicines like insulin. Then for the food, all these agricultural plants, they are able to yield more. You make use of biotechnology in your plantation. Maybe you planted maize you planted like maybe 500. You did like 500 heaps, and you planted maize there. If you make use of the biotechnology, you are going to be able to, your plant is going to yield more than normal. It's going to yield more, a lot. So, and for the genetic engineering, this one improves crops and health, because you are giving them a resistance to pests, something that divorce them, something that doesn't allow them to grow, which is the pest. after the genetic engineering, it will improve the crop and their health, because the pest cannot come there to come and harm them again, because they are carrying a new trait. Then for transport and communication, this also has improved lately. Under the transport, we now have airplane, we have helicopter, we have jets, we have ships that can actually travel anywhere around the world, instead of then that we are using donkey. So science has actually evolved, it has actually helped. Then for the communication, now we make use of phones, we make use of internet, we make use of a lot of technology tools that has actually helped, that has given a lot of advancement to the 20th century. So internet connects the world. Yeah. Science is just something that connects the worldwide. So science also causes destructive weapon. So science is also used to create a destructive weapon, as I said. Weapons like atomic bombs, like hydrogen bombs, like nuclear weapons, like missiles, all of this, they are all destructive weapons. And they are made up of science. It's a science that created all of this. So that's going to be the end of the class before we go to the objective questions. And yeah, I don't know if some of us have questions. All right. Good evening. Let me go back to them. Yeah. Okay. The first man on the moon, I said is new. Yeah, I can hear you. I want to show you the second one. The first man to travel to moon. The first man on the moon. The first man on the moon is Neil Armstrong, right? And I said the second one is the first man in space. Space is different from moon. Space is the solar system itself. Yeah, space is the solar system itself. But the first man on moon is Neil Armstrong, and the first man in space is Yuri Gagarin. The Neil Armstrong is an American astronaut. Why this person, this Yuri Armstrong is not an American. You know, there's racist everywhere. Sure, you understand. So the way they do that, the way they do American citizen is very different, because on a normal note, this person name is supposed to come first before the Neil Armstrong. But the name that was circulated was Neil Armstrong. Although this one traveled to the space, the other one traveled to the moon. So this Yuri Gagarin was just like a cosmonaut. He's not an astronaut. He's a cosmonaut. So he was the one that traveled to the space. So that's the difference between them. Yeah, he's a Russian. So do you understand now? I said he's a Russian. He's a Russian. He's a Russian. Neil Armstrong is an American. So that is why they are kind of citizenship of a thing. So him is a cosmonaut. He deals with space. That's why he's known as a cosmonaut. Alright. So is there anybody that has another question before we go to the practice question here? So this is the question I have for us. There's only one, and it's to discuss the impact of communication technology in Nigeria. who can help with that, just in the way that you understand. The impact of communication technology in Nigeria. The impact means like the advantage, the benefit of communication. The communication, make use of phones, make use of laptop, internet, TV, radios. What kind of impact has it done to Nigeria? What kind of impact has it done to you? Your phone, the phone you are using now, which is a communicating device, what kind of impact has it done to you? What have you gained? Yes, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's good. So that's for, yeah. Thank you very much for your response. So who else can actually discuss the impact of these communicating devices? What you are using, the kind of communicating devices you are using, what kind of impact has it done to you, or has it done to people that you are able to notice? You can, yeah, can give us another answer. Yeah, good evening, boss. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Okay, that's true. So you believe it's not good? Yeah. Okay, that's true. All right. So thank you very much for your own. Yeah. All right. Good evening, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. John. Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. You're welcome, sir. Yes, that's true. All right, sir. So thank you very much. So a lot of impact that communication is having, a lot of them in our academic aspects, working aspects. Yeah, it's having advantage, it's having disadvantages. A lot of things are out now. The same way people are using AI for good thing, people are using the same AI for bad thing. You can't call it bad thing but for dangerous thing. Yeah, things that can harm. So that's for that. So let's go to the objective questions and the filling the gap questions that we have. So the objective ones, hold on. So the first question says S3 was discovered by dash. Who discovered S3? Who discovered S3? Is is it about S3? What's the answer, please? ZB about testing S3 was discovered. No, that's not correct. About testing discovered another thing. Yes, C. Rothgin. Yeah, it's Rothgin that discovered X-ray. About testing they don't. Yeah, they don't have to complete the name. So far you're able to. So far they are giving you one of the names there, and is the only person that is called Rothgin. About testing is not an innovator. Instead, investing is just a genius that creates theories, that propound laws and the rest. So it's just a genius, a scientist genius, not a creator. So it was Rothschild that discovered X-ray. Then number two, relative theory was developed in what year? B. 1905. So relative theory was developed in 1905. Number three, biotechnology involves dash. Yeah, living organism. It involves living organism. When we make use of living organism for useful things, that is called biotechnology. So number four, first airplane was built in what year? 1903. Yeah, that's correct. Then for number five, internet started in what year? Yeah, 1970s. That is when the internet started. Internet started in the year 1970. So let's go to the filling the gap section. Filling the gap section says X-ray was discovered by dash. X-ray was discovered by dash. Who discovered X-ray? Yeah, growth gene. Now look at, in the objective question they give us only one name, but in this fill in the gap, if you are asked this kind of question, you have to type the full name, which is Wilhelm Roth gene. You have to type the full name because this one is a fill in the gap, but that one is just an objective question there. So that is the difference between them. And if you are to write the name, you start with capital letter, with in W will be in capital letter. Why for the Roth gene the R will be in capital letter? Because you are writing the name, like you are writing name. That's a noun. So let's take note of that because our exam is coming up. The draft timetable is out already. So every of all this opportunity, let's just try to grab one or two. So number 2, theory of relativity was proposed in dash. What year did they propose this theory of relativity? Yeah, 1905. 1905. So it was proposed in 1905. So number 3, genetic engineering involves transfer of dash. Transfer of dash. I explained this genetic engineering with the word genetic. What are they transferring? Genetic means is something that is concerned with our DNA and the rest. So what is transferred there? Thank you. Transfer of gene. It's transfer of gene. So the genetic engineering involves transfer of gene. Anywhere you see genetic, you know that you are talking about gene. So number 4, first airplane was built by dash. It was built by dash. Yeah, OV. There are two. They are brothers. So their names Ovil. Yeah, Ovil and Wilbur-Wright. The Ovil and Wilbur-Wright. You can call them the Wright brothers, and you can list their name. But Ovi and the Wilbur-Wright. That is the name that's inside the course material. So the Ovil, we start the O with the capital letter. The Wilbur, the W in the capital letter. The Wright, the W also in the capital letter. So they are brothers. They are the ones that first built the first airplane. So number 5, internet uses dash protocol. What is the protocol that internet makes use of? Yeah, thank you very much, sir. TCP/IP. TCP/IP. That is what internet makes use of. So that is for the fill in the gap section. So I really appreciate everyone of us that has joined the class tonight. Please let's take note. The draft timetable is already out. Let's try to go through the timetable. Look at when you have your exam. Although the final timetable is still going to be dropped, but it's just little changes that are going to be made there. So go through the draft timetable. Know when you have the exam, so that you can know when to so that you can know how to increase your reading, and so that you can know how to be fast about it. And please, every of this class, let's see it as an advantage for us to learn. Instead of you going back to read this in a very difficult way, at least you get the summarization of it first. So let's make use of these steps. Let's make use of these processes, please. It's going to be an advantage for us. I don't want us to get into the exam and say it as and and then not tell me say it could be like this, so that kind of lines. So please let's prepare our mind so that we not come out and be like you are going to see your results. So you don't even have to lie. Even if you have to lie to others, you will not lie to yourself. Deep down you know that I don't feel. But don't let that be our portion. So let's try as much as possible. just a little effort, just a little. Oh, yeah, I said failing should not be our portion. That's what I mean. Yeah. So, and you know, we know that no be mouth. Action speaks louder than action speaks louder than your words. So we need to put more effort. If you did not sleep from now till, I'm not saying you should not sleep, but at least if you should volunteer your like 2 to 3 hours from now till the 1st of June, till the ending of your exam, nothing will happen to you. Nothing is going to happen to you. You are still going to stay calm. You are still going to stay strong. So let's just do that. Let's do that before the exam. Please, I beg all of us. And God is going to give all the strength. And let's try to eat well, sleep well, drink water very well before you come to the exam. Please. Let's make ourselves fit. That's important. Yes, sir. Yeah, good evening, sir. Yeah, the date is going to finish is also there. As you check the first page, check the last page so that you'll be able to know. I've not even gone to the timetable. But I know it's starting on the 1st of June. So you scroll down, scroll to the last section, you will see the last day there. So 19th of June. So that means you have June, just a month, just a month. So you are going to be writing exam to Monday to Saturday, Monday to Saturday. Yeah, the draft timetable is out. I've sent it to the group already, so you can go through it. Alright, man. So please make sure you see the timetable too, so that you can prepare yourself. And if you did not see your course there, if you did not see your course there's a link you can message so that they will actually go through it. That is the reason why they used to drop the draft timetable first. So as for some people that did not see their course, they'll be able to make a complaint, then they can make an adjustment before they drop the final one. Yeah. Alright. So that's why I said we should go through it, please. Alright, so let's call it a night. By 9 p.m. tomorrow we are going to meet here again for the last GST, which is GST 101. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, everything are there. Yes, sir. Yeah, you can go back there and just please. The last what? Yeah, the previous class is yeah, it's also there. It's also there. All of them is there. Yes, sir. Are you inside the group? Are you inside the group? If you're inside the group, is there? Alright, check. Yeah, just wait for that. Alright, sir. So I really appreciate. Yeah, good night, everyone. Good night, sir. Alright, so let's. Okay, sir. Amen. Amen. Right. Alright, sir. Hey, Mr. Aini. Una go. Una go.